Ta-da! What is happening out there, my friends? Yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. And thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Excuse me. And it feels good to be back home. Although we did have a great time visiting with friends of ours in Tucson, Arizona, and we got back on Monday, late Monday, about 11 p.m. And next day we had to go to the grocery store, stock up, all that good stuff. But we did pick up a guitar when we were in Tucson, and when we first landed, it was last Wednesday we arrived there, and right away Deb says, okay, what we'll do, she was able to locate the local guitar center that wasn't too far from our friend's house, and we picked this bad boy up, which is another Cordoba guitar. This one's an expensive one. I was not expecting something like this. And I was looking at the $99 guitars. As a matter of fact, when we walked in Guitar Center, went over by the electric guitars, and I found one of their, excuse me, one of their brand Mitchell guitars, and it was a little mini guitar, electric guitar, $99. I was kind of messing with it. I really just wanted anything so I could keep up with my chops, because this weekend Saturday, matter of fact, we got a pretty high-end wedding gig we got to do in Miami. So I wanted to do something, just keep my chops up, because it's a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the ass bringing gear on the plane, man. And it was a connecting flight on top of it. And I'll later on, we'll put up some of the videos of us taking off and landing, only to show, if people haven't flown before, what to kind of expect, But we just had a carry-on bag and then a little tiny bag that we could, actually a carry-on that we could put in the overhead compartment, and then a little carry-on bag we could have with us. The guitar would not fit. None of my guitars would have fit. And I did not have enough time to go order a travel guitar, which I'm glad we didn't, because after we got on the plane, there was so much baggage up in those overhead compartments, I don't think anything else would have fit. So, long story short, we go to Guitar Center, and I'm looking at the electric guitars, and right away Deb goes into the acoustic room, which I thought, okay, that's good, because I really do need to get in there and check out what they got there. So the agreement was look for something inexpensive, cheap. So I found actually Deb pointed out a Fender acoustic for like $319. I played it, steel string. It was pretty nice. And then I'm looking at another guitar, and I'm kind of looking around the rack, and I'm looking only at the inexpensive guitars. And each one I played was going to be kind of an issue, and I thought, okay, well, if it's just going to be a practice guitar, that's not too bad. Then I found an Ibanez, I think it's called the Tolman, acoustic electrics. That was like $269. The Fender was $319. I thought, well, let me check out the Tolman. It was pretty nice. The Fender had a little bit better action, but not too bad. And then Deb saying, well, are those nylon string guitars? I goes, no, these are all steel strings. Well, let's see if we can find a nylon string. And I did find some Cordobas, but, kind of in the low price range, which is not too bad. And I can't remember what it was. I didn't plug the Fender, and I was playing with the Fender. Deb found a Cordoba electric acoustic cutaway, and I played it. And I think the price tag on this one was maybe like maybe $450 or something. It was pretty decent. But mess with the tuners. I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to buy something to play, then we'll mess. That's good. Stay in tune. We'll mess with them. Anyways, long story short, she finally goes up to this one Cordoba, grabs it, and it was like all maple wood, and they wanted like $1,000. So she grabs it, the price tag, and is kind of holding the price tag so I wouldn't see it. And I played it. It was a nice guitar. Don't get me wrong. It was a real nice guitar. But I messed with the tuning and that, and I thought, well, it's just the way it was set up. But I wasn't expecting to drop $1,000, So she puts that back, and she's looking around, and meanwhile there's another guy comes in. I'm talking with him, and so she grabs this guitar, and she had the price tag. I really didn't see the price tag. I know I saw a price tag that was kind of expensive. I didn't realize it was this guitar. So she grabs this guitar, and I started playing it without plugging it in. And right away, no tuning issues. I do some of my octave, and without it plugged in, I just started messing with, normally what I would mess with. Everything felt balanced. And the action is killer. I mean, superb. And I'm going to show you the back of this. This is real close to my first Cordoba guitar that we got back in 2001. This nice little, a little bit easier cutaway compared to the Cordoba that we bought a couple years ago, which we use now. This is going to be the guitar we use outside. See this one? It's got this, so you kind of like button up against it. I mean, it's still a nice guitar, don't get me wrong. This one. This one is called the Iberian series, and this is a GK Studio. And the electronics are decent on here. It has a built-in tuner, and it has a built-in mic. The action on this one's a little bit on the high side, where this one, the one we just got, does not have a tuner, but it's got a built-in mic, but the preamp is much better. And like I said, the cutaway is a lot easier. The cheaper Cordoba is the spruce top, and I don't know what the back and sides are. This is European spruce top with Indian rosewood back and sides, and bone saddle, and up here bone nut, and it's got the mother of pearl inlays there, as well as the mother of pearl rosette. So yes, she grabs the guitar, and I started playing it, and then I plugged it into one of the amps, and everything was just like magic. I thought, okay, this thing feels and sounds expensive. I'm not expecting this. So she talks with a sales guy, and then they're talking a little bit, and she comes back in after I was done playing the guitar a little bit, and she says, well, how does it feel? I said, man, it's a great guitar, but I don't, this might be pretty expensive, Well, she grabs the guitar, she says, hold on. And she goes out there behind the counter while I'm still in the acoustic room. And our friends that we came down to visit, they were in the out there in the main room, the main floor with the electric guitars. And I guess there was a couple of guys having a jam session. So I thought, well, maybe Deb's could see if we get a certain percentage off the guitar. I don't know what it was, and whatever they worked out, I guess they didn't, because the guitar literally just got there a few days ago. Which got shipped. It was a new arrival, and I'm not going to say exactly what we spend on it, but I will give you the model number. This is the Luthier Series GK Pro Negra, and the other guitar, I think this was their most expensive one that they had there. When I looked all these up, I googled the most expensive Cordobas that they have they're like a remake of the Hauser guitars, and the Hauser guitars, it's a German-made guitar. Outside of the Ramirez guitars, that was one of the other guitars that Andres Segovia played. So to get a real Hauser, you're talking about maybe 10 to 15 grand, maybe even 20. Whereas the Cordoba Hauser model was like 4,400 or something like that. So this one's about half that price, and the neck feels like it's custom built, and I was not expecting to drop that much on a guitar, but she picked it out, and she was really impressed when she saw the quality of it, and when she heard me play it and then heard it plugged in, and I was just like in my own zone. The guitar just inspired me because it felt, played, and sounded that great. And thank God we've got plenty of gigs, and so this thing's gonna get paid off. The gigs will pay it off, no problem. But then we had to ship it back. We did not have Guitar Center ship it because we needed to take this guitar to our friend's house, because while I was there I still needed to rehearse and keep up with my chops for this Saturday's wedding gig. So that's why we bought it over there. And the one video I posted up was in their backyard. They're right by the mountain. They're actually in the mountain, and then across them you could see the other mountains. I think they're called the Lemon Mountain or Lemon Mountain in Tucson, Arizona, and absolutely beautiful, very inspiring. So I was able to keep this, a few days, and then Sunday we went over to UPS and had this shipped second day air, which that's pretty pricey with the fuel costs and everything, but it was well worth it because I do think we put up the unboxing, and they did a great job. They made sure they did everything per our request. UPS was about maybe 10 to 15 minutes late. They were supposed to get here. I mean, we were waiting all day on, was it Monday? No, Wednesday. It arrived Wednesday. And we were waiting all day. And, well, Wednesday, yesterday. We were waiting all day. And then it said that on their tracking device or whatever, it said it was like maybe 5:30. Well, they got here about like almost 5:45. And we were very happy, and right away we opened up the box and checked everything out, and it arrived alive, just put it that way. But yeah, it's a beautiful guitar, man. And yeah, there was a couple of electric. I didn't have enough time to really look at everything because we were feeling a little bit jet lagged, because Arizona is 3 hours behind us time wise, and then it was a connecting flight. And they give you these little tiny pretzels, which I'll put the video up. The pretzels are like this. They're puny. And at least they gave us that. But with connecting flights, you got to hurry up, go to the next gate. When we landed in Dallas, Texas, that was our connecting flight. And we had to hurry. So, we didn't have enough time to get anything to eat at the store. And, of course, airports are always expensive. So it's like pain in the ass. We haven't flown in about 20 years, actually 19 years. The last time we have flown was when we did the gig over in Brussels for NATO. And, that was, like I said, almost 20 years, 20 years ago. It'll be 20 years, October of 2027. So, because all our other gigs were here in the States, and, we're driving, because it's expensive, man. To fly with gear, it's very expensive. Even with the so-called fly rig, my advice, we did this one time with our original Cordoba, which I'll get that out of the case and, compare that one. You'll see the backside of this on the original Cordoba. But when we did a gig, and we're visiting and did a little gig jam session over in Las Vegas, we literally bought a seat for the guitar, because we saw how they handle the baggage. And I was like, you know what? If you could start playing places, you're setting up gigs, you're playing at these places, man, you got to protect your gear, man. You got to protect you got to think worst case scenario so that you're ready to handle if a bad thing happens and you got a gig booked. You got to be prepared, man. Because you know what? When you're doing this on your own, there's nobody helping you but yourself. And that's the reality. That's the truth. So I thought about, if we ever have to do a fly, we'll probably, whatever guitar we take, wrap it up and buy a seat for it. All three of us. But here's another thing. So what are you going to call this? You know what I mean? Because unless we actually say we're buying a seat for our instrument, then there's no name, or just the name of the brand name of the guitar or whatever. But there's nothing looking up on social security numbers and all that other crap, or we've got our passports and that. So yeah, I mean, flying is fun. When it's not the nervousness of the plane's going to crash, because if it's going to crash, you can't do anything with that anyway. It's just the pain in the ass and the hassle, especially when you got connecting flights. Man, you got to make sure you got your gear. So what we did was, Deb got these like backpacks that we could put all our clothes in. That was the one that went overhead. She's got one, I got one. And then we had these they're not fanny packs, but they're like a bag that wraps around here. It's front, and it's so no one could cut it and steal it because you're gonna see. Because you gotta be careful, man. People when you're out and about, they think you're a tourist. Even if you are a tourist or not, you got people that are watching you, and if they know you're not from that area, you're a prime. You could be a prime target. So yeah, it's a great, great guitar, man. And let me think here. So like I said, when you're if you're gonna fly with gear, and you have to check your gear, it'd be wise to get a flight case for your guitars, man. It would be very, very wise. Oh, let me see if we got into the chest. What's happening, my friends? Randy Tritt, hey, what's happening, brother? Yes, yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate. Sean Murphy, thank you. Can a 12-string guitar and with a 6-string with 6 strings missing play? Yeah, I have an Ibanez 12-string, and there it's. I'll tell you what, the Ibanez I have, the bout of it, it's like real big, man. It's kind of whoa, but the action is killer, and it sounds great. What I did with that guitar, you have two kinds of 8-string guitars. One is where you do have a white fretboard and you got extra bass strings. But another type of an 8-string guitar, Taylor makes them, and I think other guitars make them. The D string and the G string are doubled. So, and it's kind of unique. So I think I got a video, or maybe it's up on my Instagram page. I'll have to look for it. Well, I did a recording where the only strings that are doubled was the D and G string. And it sounded cool. Now, if you take your 12-string and you convert it to a 6-string, just mess around with where your string spacing is going to be. Because if you leave the outer strings, your bass string and your treble string is going to be real close to the to where the fretboard is, where it ends. You'll see what I mean. And if you have a 12, you know what I mean. So if you want your bass string and your high E string, keep it on the inside slot of the saddles, and then you could space the rest of the strings however you want to space them, or you could just leave them as they're spaced, take off the little with the octave strings, which that's what it is. The 12 string got those little thin strings, they're the same note but an octave. Take those strings off and leave the other strings where they're at, and then see how that feels. But yeah, you could do that. Let me see what else is going on. Let's see. Yeah, Randy Trick going live at 8 o'clock, bro. Okay, I'll try to come up because we got to get up a little early because we got to get ready for our gig and that. But I'll keep it on, okay? Because there's a couple of recordings I also got to work on. I have a Tempo acoustic. Oh, awesome. I'm going to tell you something, guys. You play what you have. Oh, how you doing, Angela? How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate that. Lee Elliott, thank you so much. Wonderwall by Oasis. Oh, yeah. I have to learn those songs because, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of pop songs I really don't play. I'll play some of them, but I'm more into like the fusion, jazzy, instrumental guitar stuff. That's the stuff I love. I absolutely love that stuff. But now, and I probably have that song Wonderwall somewhere in the books here. But another thing is I got to be careful with putting up covers, man. Because last time I checked, I had all these strikes. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to be careful. And, it's just the way everything is. That's why there's other people like Dave Simpson. He'll say certain songs he legally cannot play because he'll get hit. And it's just the way things are. I don't blame it for it being that way. I'm going to tell you why. Because the industry has lost so much money because everything is free. And I know people say, well, DistroKid and this organization and that, they take care of that. Well, they can only take care of it if they got the permission to. Like, here, good way to understand this. If any of the songs that you've written, and let's say you got a copy written, that means you got it certified through the copyright office. They'll send you the information, certificate, and to verify that it's not just copyright, but it's registered. And now you're owner of the material, you're owner of the piece of music. You own the copyrights, all that. It's yours. And if someone is out there playing your music and all of a sudden on their YouTube channel they're getting more hits and they're getting paid and they're playing your songs, and yet you put your songs up that you've written and you own, and you're not getting any hits or very little, and you're not getting any pay, how would you feel? I mean, be honest. You would feel a little bit pissed. Like, hey, wait a minute, man, that's my material, that's my work. So I really don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a protection thing for everybody. Um, Plus, I really think when people learn how to play any instrument, they should learn how to play that instrument, and then they should learn rhythms, they should learn melodies, and then they should learn the songs. And I know this is almost kind of, it's not contradicting. For some people, it sounds contradicting, because you'll have people say, well, how am I going to learn to play if I don't learn how to play songs? Well, you can learn without playing songs. You learn how to play the rhythms, the chords, and you learn rhythms. And I've said this many times before. When I started playing guitar, it was in grade school, and it was in a group setting. And later on, yeah, we did learn how to play some folky songs. I don't know whoever wrote these songs. But first and foremost, we learned the chords and we learned how to play rhythm. And I'll never forget, the teacher kept on saying, how does that feel? Get the feel of the sensation of strumming the chords. Get that feel. Tap your foot to it. Learn how to feel that rhythm. And then do your chord changes. Learn how to make your chord change on what's known as a downbeat. Real simple. Real simple. You count at 4/4. You just do like this. Let's say I'm going to do A minor to D minor. Make it simple, right? We're going to do A minor. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. D minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... Because I wasn't... when you're learning it, when you're first learning, you're not going to make those changes that quick, or swiftly. You got to get used to the mechanics of it. But it's not just the fingering; it's also your strumming and picking hand. So with that, we had these exercises that we're playing a couple of chords, and because the way she structured it, it sounded musical right from the get-go. So that made me realize that, wow, okay, it's kind of a theory that I thought, except when I was younger, I always heard music and listened to it. But, it's got lyrics and it's got a song title. Well, when you're learning rhythms, there's no lyrics and no song title, but it has that, once you learn how to do this, it'll have that same flowing sensation. And it's that flowing sensation that I would hear with the music. And little by little by little by little, I was able to make the chord changes, and then be able to make it swiftly. And then, we'd learn the songs and that, because we had to play for the assembly, so we had to learn how to play the songs. But this lady it was two ladies. They were real clever. I gotta give them that credit, because they really taught us how to understand rhythms. Okay. I'm getting on. I'm so sorry about. I don't want to miss anything. Okay, Izzy, what's happening, man? Here, let me get this. I'm so sorry, guys. Goldust, what is happening? Ozzy, what's happening? I appreciate Goldust. I really appreciate it. I can't play my guitar that well. You know what, Goldust? Here, I'm gonna try to catch up with all the chats. I don't want to think I'm ignoring you guys. Here's the thing. I couldn't play my guitar that well. When I'm learning new material, I can't play it that well. I have a lot of these classical and Spanish guitar, but I'm going to be revisiting, going over, so I'm going to have to take it slow. The key is, and I don't care what anyone says, you got all this information out on YouTube and the internet and AI, all that. Everybody is different. You have to play within your limitations, where you are at that point in time. When you hear people say, "No, just go ahead and rush through it," look, they mean it well. I'm not trying to knock them. They mean well. So they mean get used to the sensation of if you want to play fast, get used to that sensation of playing fast, but don't make that the only thing you focus on. Slow yourself down, play as clearly as possible, and then make those chord changes very comfortable. And if you have to slow rhythm down, slow the rhythm down, but try to make it as musical as possible. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that's what draws people in. It doesn't matter how fast or slow it is how musical it sounds. That draws them in. Once you could understand that and make your instrument sound like it's coming to life, like it's like, geez, it sounded like a record. When you get to that point, boom, you're on your way. You're definitely on your way. So, and another thing is, don't worry if you don't know 6 million chords and 8 bazillion trillion scales and modes. Because the reality is this. You have 7 notes and 5 variations of those notes, thus giving you the 12 tones. And then you have all these combinations, and you just take it little by little. And you don't have to do all of them. Just do the ones that appeal to you the most, make that sound musical, and you're on your way, man. You're on your way. Because it's real interesting, some of the things I've seen when these people give this advice. It's like, okay, and they're entitled to their opinion. And if they know what they're talking about, hey, go for it. That's fine. But what's this advice on Russian things and that, your mind could only handle so much at a time. And again, everyone's different. So, and it's another thing. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. Look at what you're doing and go from there. I think that the whole thing with trying to compare yourself with other people is we all do it, but when you sit down and you really look at it, it's like, well, I'm not that person, and I'm never going to be that person, and that person is never going to be you. You get the people that say, yeah, but he's Joe Satriani. He's Steve. He didn't come out of the room he came out of the room, that person, but he did not come out of the room with the guitar in the hand. And yeah, I really do believe that a lot of us everyone's born with certain gifts. Absolutely 100%. 100% I believe that. And you know how you can verify it? When things seem to be not that difficult for you, although you will have your challenges, but it doesn't seem like it's really that difficult. You could almost like second nature. You could do this. Then it's like, hey, you got that gift. But you still have to put the work into it. Nothing's free in life. All right, let's get in. So don't ever think that if you can't play guitar that well right now, just keep at it and get to the point where you want to go. Let's see, I gotta use my cheater here. I hope I don't. We used to use these to burn ants when we were kids. We were stupid. So thank God the sun's not back and I burned the screen on my phone. But yeah, Lee Elliott, I will look into that. And maybe I could do some fudging here. I do know sometimes I get away with certain songs as instrumental, but I still get the strikes, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting to a point where I gotta watch it, man. Okay, man. Yeah, thank you, Randy. That's it is a nice guitar. Yep, and the 12 string. Going live at Acre. Okay, bro. Okay, I have a Tempo acoustic. Yep. Like I said, play. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Love you too, Randy. You're a great guy, man. Playing rhythm guitar is pretty easy compared to playing leads. Yeah, but you know what, Sean Murphy? Here. Even leads have a sense of rhythm to it. There's rhythmic to everything. And here's where rhythm gets more challenging than leads. And because if you think about it, your lead playing, a lot of it will be, usually alternate picking, or you'll have a sweep and arpeggios, or the tap. I don't have it plugged in, but anyways, I don't need that plugged in right now. So you have I want to say three basic techniques of playing lead, although you could do the Travis picking and all that, but that's a little different. But your basic leads that you are hearing is either alternate picking or legato. Excuse me, legato is. So that is with the right hand or your picking hand. Here is where, with the scales or the different modes, or if you're playing different arpeggios, that you could kind of digest your. It's kind of self-explanatory when you start messing around with it, because a lot of the problem with playing leads, people think I got to do this scale with that chord, and that's how they always think. That's not necessarily true, because you could play lead within the chord right here. You know, a lead or a melody line, you know. But it's still going to be one of the three different types of your picking attack, whether it's picking, whether it's legato, whether it's sweeping arpeggios, or tapping. Where rhythm can be very challenging is your syncopation. In other words, or if you're doing anything flamenco style, I mean, these are the two basic ones that for me that I'll do. This is where it can be a little challenging. You know, that could be a little challenging there, because there's so much going on with your picking hand, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. You know, so much that goes on. Okay, let's see what else I can catch up on. But again, it depends what kind of music you're playing too. You know, and it's all good. That's another thing. It's all good. Well, to say about tempo, I don't know too much about tempo guitars. Maybe I've seen them. Or maybe they're like a blast from the past. The reality is, if it stays in tune and sounds good, boom, you're good. Now, I will say this, and this is even for me, because this little Fender Squier Telecaster, it's amazing. It's under $200. It stays in tune. It's great. However, if I were to take this guitar right now, or if they have the exact same model like Guitar Center or wherever, and play it, and yeah, that's cool, man, you know, put it back on the rack, and then let's say there's, I guess they got the 75th anniversary Tele out now. Grab that. I don't know how much it is, but let's say it's hovering around the $2,000 range. Now, despite if there's tuning issues or if there's electronic issue, that's one thing. But have you guys and gals out there ever gone to a music store where you grabbed a guitar that it ranged from $1,000 to $2,000 and up in that price range? You grabbed a guitar, what you might notice right away is the feel. Right away you're going to notice the feel. Over here I have a white, I gotta clean this up. I haven't played it in a while. A white studio model Epiphone Les Paul. Great guitar. I don't know if this. I think this one was $3.99, and the other one I had was $2.99. You know, a sale at Guitar Center years and years ago at the Naperville, Illinois location. The other one I was giving it to a friend, but he gave me $100 for it. So, but anyways, it's a great guitar, great feel. However, when I pull out the Gibson, boom, I could tell right away. And even though that's the standard and that's the studio model, I've been at Guitar Center where I felt, you know, an Epiphone, even the ones that are inspired by Gibson, and they're great guitars. Don't get me wrong, killer price. Hey man, go for it, save money. But if you do have extra money that you know, if you wanted to treat yourself, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you take a Gibson Les Paul standard and you grab an Epiphone, you're gonna feel the difference, or at least you should. 'Cause I have, and that's the same thing with this guitar. When I compare this to the other guitars and even the other Cordobas I had over at Guitar Center, this thing it was just instantly like, okay, the quality is here, man. Because as soon as I started playing, and everything is tuned all up and down the fretboard, no problems. Action felt killer. It feels very balanced. It feels not only balanced playing wise, but sound projection wise. It seems like everything is very, very even. And then, now that's acoustically, that's going to definitely matter. And then when I plugged it in, the same thing, everything very, very evenly. So they took their time when they built this guitar. And when we got back to our friend's house, we were looking the origins of this particular series. Like I said, the Hauser, they're making copies of Hauser, I think Ramirez guitars, and another one. And there's no cutaway, no electronics, and they're already in the between $4,000 and $5,000 range. Those guitars, I think, are made in the U.S. You might have some that are made over in maybe Italy or Spain, but in the U.S. This right here, I could not believe when Deb looked up, this was made in China. But I'm going to tell you right now, when I looked it up, it was not made in a Chinese factory, just, production line, bang them out. These were luthiers that took their time building this guitar. I was completely blown away, completely shocked. The tuning machines, the ratios on them, you don't have to turn them that much. They're just very, very strong. Everything on this is like very, very strong. And again, I'm not gonna, like I said, you can look up the price, and you probably think, oh, I wouldn't pay that much for a guitar built in China. I used to think the same thing, but after grabbing this and playing this and hearing and feeling, and I did not see the price tag, so I really didn't know. All I knew is that this guitar is very well built. They took their time with this, and because of that, it's like, okay, you know what? It really does not matter where it's built. If it's built from experienced hands and there's quality control and they're taking their time with it, you're going to get a good instrument regardless. There's no doubt about that. So, but again, like I said, or I didn't maybe mention this guitar will not be outside. So the gig we have Saturday is going to be inside. Then after this gig in Miami, then we're back at doing our restaurant gig in Estero. That's inside. This guitar is coming with, along with the Paul Reed Smith. The little SE guitar. When we do the music walk and the art walk, this is not going outside. The other Cordobas are going outside. The cheaper one. Now, let me show you my original Cordoba. Yeah, Tempo are made in Japan. Okay. How do I play without a pick? Okay. I've done self-study in classical guitar. So first and foremost, find out what kind of music that you really like, because there's a lot of different ways to play without a pick. Some people will just use their thumb. And they might use a combination of slur. We call these slurs. It's also in rock it's known as legato. Some people will just do like maybe one finger and the thumb. What I'll do is when I work on my scales, I'll do this. I have a tendency to use my index, middle, and ring finger when I'm working with scales, and I'll rest my thumb on one of the strings. I'm playing 3 notes per string, and I'm using 3 fingers. Now, they will teach you this to use your index and middle, but you have to alternate. Sometimes I work on that as an exercise too to see how fast I could get it. If anyone is familiar with Paco de Lucia, he passed away in 2004. I seen him in concert, but it's incredible, man. He started like bullets, man. It's so swift and so clean and every note clear, man. It's incredible. If I wanted to get to that point, I know I could get maybe close to it. I don't know how close I can get to it, But because I also play electric guitar, I like to pick, I have these two different styles. So, but basically, is what I'll do is 3 notes per string, index, middle, and ring. And if I start the note with the index finger, next note, middle finger, next note, third finger, and so forth. When I practice this, I'll practice primarily on the D and G string, and there's a reason for that. If I do everything on the high E string, I have nothing next to it. So I could really let my fingers go wild. But when I got strings next to each other, I have to really isolate it. So it forces me to be a little bit aware and try to practice it as cleanly. Now I have another issue that goes on. I'll get my nails to a certain length, and sometimes they'll chip and break, and it becomes very high maintenance. When I practice with the pick, especially when I'm working on my speed exercises, I'll have exercises that I'll literally do things as 16 notes, or I call them quad picking. That's a 4-finger exercise. I'll stay in one position, and I'll pick each note 4 times, and I'm doing alternate picking. It can be very boring. I'll practice with a metronome, and I'll practice that for maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or I'll listen to music so I can get the rhythms in my head if I'm trying to learn something new. And I got to a point where I could keep up with that timing of what I'm listening to and get my picking exercise in, so both hands are in sync with each other. But I also play a lot of melodically, because as an instrumentalist, I'm taking the role of the vocalist. So I have to be aware of that as well. Otherwise, it just sounds like an exercise. No matter how fast you get, if that's all you're doing, there will be people who love it, and I love it too. But there'll also be people that's like, dude, I can't take that. I don't hear there's no melody, there's no value in a note. So, there's something for everybody, and everyone's got their forte. So that's another thing. Just keep in mind. Do what appeals to you, and that's not being egotistical. That's being realistic, because you're the one that's going to be playing it, not anyone else. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're performing, and I remember telling this to a friend of mine, and he's like, "Dude, that's not how it's supposed to be. You got to think for the people." Well, yeah, you do, but first and foremost, if you discredit yourself, if you think that you don't matter, if you think it's not about you, it's about the audience, well, part of it is about you, because who's on that stage? You or the audience. And if you're clinking and clunking, or you look like you don't like what you're doing, that audience, because they're going to sense it. But if you have passion for what you're doing, you're not going to please everybody all the time. So you do have to please yourself in order to have a good time. And then those other people that are like, yeah, it's cool. Again, you're not going to please everybody. And I'm not saying that's not being egotistical. Egotistical is when you think your crap don't stink and you could step over people. No, that's being egotistical. There's no room for that. No room for that at all. So the tempo is made in Japan. Okay. I know there were certain Squier Stratocasters that were made in Japan. Some were made in Korea, because Deb's got a Squier that's made in Korea. I do remember the first guitar that I owned, because when I was in grade school, we took the guitars home, and then great advice. You have passion when you. I thank you so much, because I just love what I do. And not everyone's gonna like it, and that's fine. It can still be my friend. That doesn't bother me, It just, I absolutely love what I do, and I've been very blessed and fortunate that I'm able to do this But I have my ups and downs too. I'm only human. Sometimes I'll forget certain things, but I just keep going. Don't announce all your mistakes. Or sometimes I feel fatigued and I don't want to do something fast, so that's why I'll do something very melodic and then put the speed bursts in between and all that. But my first guitar that I owned was my dad and I went to the pawn shop and bought, it was called a Checkmate guitar. It was the cheapest thing ever. Electric guitar, and with the amp that had one knob and it went click and that was it. And it had one of those coil, like old telephone coil cords. That was it, man. But you know what? I was in heaven because it was an electric guitar. So I was very happy. And then I had a Checkmate. No, not the Checkmate was the first guitar. Then I had a Magnum Les Paul copy that had a bolt-on neck. It was black custom, but it was kind of cheap. It would, between the pickups, it would always feedback because the center was like all hollowed out, even though it had the carved top, but it wasn't solid or anything. And then after that, I had a 1978 Ibanez Artist, and I regret trading that guitar in because that was built like a tank, man. And then from there, But I do know there was, oh my God, there is a brand that was made, Les Paul copies made in Japan, and I can't remember. It starts with a T. It's not Temco, but it starts with I think it's Tobias. I know Tobias made, but maybe it's not. But it's something on that realm. Of course, we used to have Hondo copy guitars, and there was Lotus copy guitars, and then Court made some good copy guitars, and so forth. But now here, let me show you the original Cordoba that we got. Now this guitar does play great, man. Plays like a dream. It actually plays very, very, very similar to this Cordoba guitar. Which, the reason why I'm not playing it, I have to get a screw for the tuner. And I feel so bad about it. But this, oh, another string broke, okay. Action on here is killer. It's got the Fishman electronics. And it has that type of, this one's actually more thinner and more comfortable than even the new one. But it's still, the new one has that. This is, spruce top or German sycamore back and sides, maybe even sycamore top. And this is the old style. This, the model number is, let's see, it is the CWES 2001. And I wish I could show you what the inside looks like, how the spelling is. It's more, I don't know how I could describe this. All caps and more different than how they are engraving their names in the guitars now. But this guitar is just great, man. This thing is we made so much money with this guitar, and the problem is I gotta replace the screw for the tuner. I do have the tuner in the case, but when we get that going, Dad will get this back up and going because this thing is just great, man. Feels great, sounds great, incredible. This one, it was going for a little over $1,000, and this was the model. That was the next model below what was known as the Gypsy Kings models back in the early 2000s. But they had a special on this. I think it was $899, and I think its original price was $1,100. So I'm pretty sure this is one of the models that was made in Spain. All I know is it says Espanol in there, so I can't find exactly. Now this one, the original Cordoba, does not have a truss rod. The cheaper Cordoba has a truss rod, but so does the new one. You see how this is? It's a little bit more, well, I guess not too bad. But this has a truss rod. which I'm fine with that because if I really want to adjust this neck, I can. So we're real happy. The guitar came home, and we're very happy with it. And I do have my old Tuscan Porter 7 007, or not 007. Let me put this here, so I don't want to drop anything. You get older, you get clumsy. Yeah, the case does have a humidifier. It's a built-in humidifier. So when you lay the case down, it looks like it is an arch-top guitar in there, but it's not arch-top. Let's see. So this guy, the DR07, and I had found some music that I had recorded that goes back to, I want to say the mid 2000s, like 2005, 2006, and I got some killer music in there. I'm like, holy crap! So I gotta transfer that onto one of my other recorders and get into my loop pedal, and we'll be playing some of that at some of our gigs. Thank you so much again. So, oh yeah, I did mention that. Well, maybe I didn't. Yeah, was it Wednesday? No, today's the 30th, so it'd be yesterday. I get my days all mixed up. Yeah, it was Wednesday. We had a lot going on, guys. So yesterday marked 9 years we've been down here in Southwest Florida, and we haven't been back since, and I can't believe the time just went, holy crap. But we're looking for another 9+ years of greatness down here. So, but what I was going to say in closing is that you don't have to buy anything expensive, but when you do and you have the money and you do want to treat yourself, really, think about it and buy what you really do want. And, it is nice to have something good because you will, it's a feel thing. You're going to feel it right away, the quality of it. And baby it as much as you can, man, because it's, not everyone has a chance to buy things expensive and then go out there, play with them, and we're very blessed and fortunate we can at this point. Not all the time, trust me on that one. But, and then go out there and we're gigging and we're making money with it and it'll pay for itself, We're real happy about that. We could have easily bought the, not that we would have, but the I'm pretty sure I didn't have a whole lot of time to wander around at the Tucson, Arizona Guitar Center because we were tight on time. We also were getting hungry too. We needed to get something to eat. So, but I'm pretty sure they had the Helix Stadium, the latest Helix floor model that came out, effect unit. We could have easily bought that and have several $100s left over, but we grabbed the guitar because I needed something, like I said, to keep the fingers limber, keep them going. The pedal ain't gonna do anything. I'll just look at it. So, all right, my friends, I don't want to be on too late because I still have a few things I have to do before I hit the sack and get up tomorrow morning early. And but I thank everyone for your support and everything, and hope that these videos and these live streams could help you. Again, I always stress this. You have to do everything that's going to benefit you and not hurt you financially or hurt any other, people or your family members or anyone around. But you really do have to think things out. And if you are able to get something nice for yourself, go for it. It's your money, When it comes down to playing, that's another thing. Learn the things that you really enjoy. And when you hear some of these people are giving you this advice, you have to this, you have to that, you have to that, you have to this, it's kind of interesting. All that advice, how is it going to really help you if you want to go out there and play? It might, but it might not. The only thing that's going to really help you is you going out there and playing. That's if you want to. But and if you don't, you just want to do it for your own enjoyment. You know, quite frankly, there's the most freedom right there. Before I close off here, there's a misconception here that you're. And I said this before. I'm gonna keep saying this because by experiencing this, people have this notion that if you get a day job, it's gonna kill your creativity. Well, you might get an idea that you want to get up late at night and record or whatever, or get up early. Man, I want to be able to just, get this down, but I got to go to work. But if you cannot make that much money with your music, and it doesn't mean you're not good, it's just the way things are. Keep that in mind. And you decide not to have a job, or you walk away from your job to do maybe art, photography, or music, you got to make sure you have the money coming in, and so you don't put yourself in a financial situation you get yourself stressed out, because there is nothing worse than being stressed out. And if you're a musician trying to sell yourself to get a gig, and you sound desperate, some people don't like that. And some people will get themselves to a point where they're so stressed out and they're so desperate that they become very hard to talk to, or they're very irritable people. They're like, oh man, I worked hard for this, and yeah, they did work hard for it, but there's a lot more going on than just working hard for it. And if you're stressing yourself out because you don't have income, find a way to have income. And there's no shame of you taking any type of a job outside of your music or your art. There's no shame in that. When I hear people almost knocking it, it's like, you got to be kidding me, because everyone's situations are different, and nobody wants to see an able-bodied person begging. They won't help you. They'll help you a little bit, but if you continue going down the begging bag situation lane, and you can go out there, and maybe you have to do it, a day job, whatever, outside of your music, and you refuse to because you got in your head you're supposed to be a professional musician. Half these people call themselves professional musicians. I'm not knocking them, but they're all playing covers. None of them are doing anything that's their own. Being professional is more than just a title. It's how you conduct yourself. It's how you play, how you present yourself. And sometimes even the pros, they have side businesses because they know exactly how difficult things are. Cost of living always goes up. When you have a day job, you'll get a raise. It might take a while, but you get a raise. Very seldom you get a raise playing out there in those clubs, especially in a cover band. You might get more gigs. I'm not going to deny that, but you're not the only one that's standing in line playing the same songs. So, and if it's a situation that you don't even like that kind of music, don't put yourself in that situation, man. I don't. And if I got people wanting to do more gigs, fine, go for it, man. Well, yeah, you're supposed to be, you're good, Dave. You should go out there and play. So you could play at this place and that place and this place and play that. Every single place. You could play at 8 days a week, and you could play for 12 hours. I don't want to do that. Because some of those places I don't like. I don't like the kind of music. I don't like the kind of clientele it brings. I just don't like it. It's just not for me. You go for it, man. If that's your thing, go for it. Not me. I've done enough of those type of gigs, and I come to the point where I'm not happy playing them. I gotta watch my stuff, or someone's too drunk. No one knows how to control their drinking. It's just one headache after. But I like the classy places, because those places you avoid all that. You don't have to go through all that problem. It's night. Thank you so much, Gidget. So again, look at where you're at in life, both financially and emotionally, and all that, and do what works for you. You don't listen to me or anyone else. Do what works for you, man. Thank you so much, Dale Correa. Yeah, it's a great guitar. I'm very happy with it. Very, very happy, Dale. And Dale, you've always been a great supporter. We appreciate you so much, man. And and we appreciate all you guys and gals out there. So again, do the things that you enjoy. Even if you're doing social media, don't worry about these numbers. I never worry about numbers, man. Never worry about it. If you want to subscribe my channel, I appreciate it. If you're not, that's fine. It's up to you. I'm not going to beg, please do this, and please hit the like bell. Please, please, please. Oh, please, That's what it looks like to me. It's almost embarrassing. So I do my thing, and that's for me. But if anyone else wants to do that, and if that's their person, they want to, hey, go for it. Anyways, guys, I appreciate, again, all your support. Hope you guys have a great evening. And we're not going to be streaming this weekend or next weekend, but we'll see when we're playing live downtown. We'll stream that. And I'm trying to get on with some sort of a steady program where I could do some live streaming right now. Right now, it's kind of like all over the place, and I apologize for that, but we'll keep you posted. Until then, you guys have a great rest of your day and a great weekend coming up, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Until then, be strong, safe, and true. Rock on, and God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.